So it's very rare that I start off an old versus new with the characters in their alternate mode. The reason why I am this time is because both of these figures are fiddly messes, and I just figured I would save myself the hassle and yourself the time, and I would just show them in the Rhino mode first. Because both of these guys are heavily reliant on panels, and basically they're kind of shelf warmers in a way, because if you flip both of these upside down, the old Generations one and the New Kingdom one, where I say new, it's been out for like a year, you can see like this, the old one has a huge cavity where you can store the weapons, and this one has like a pretty big cavity in the back. I just kind of put it back there. I'm sure there's a better way, I don't really care. But yeah, like you got these big cavities for weapon storage, and it's kind of interesting, you know, how hollow these are and how panely and kind of interesting. I do have to say, though, I feel like one is better than the other. Basically, I didn't really intend on getting the Kingdom one. I had the Generations one, and I'm like, you know what? It is not perfect at all, but I'm pretty happy with it. But I found the Kingdom one on clearance for $20 at Walmart, and I just decided to get it and just to see which one I preferred, and I'll probably get rid of the one I don't prefer. And yeah, let's just get into it. So these are the Rhino modes. So both of these are trying to portray the exact same character from the exact same iteration, Beast Wars. And I feel like the Generations one, like the tan color looks nice. Like I do like this tan color that he has. But I do feel like the Kingdom one, the color on this one's just a little bit better, in my opinion. I just feel like it captures RHINOX just a little bit better. I feel like in general, spoiler alert, this one obviously is, it's got about 8-9 years on this one. So yeah, definitely this one's a little better. One thing I do prefer about this one, though, the old one, I do like how the mouth is a lot bigger. Because it actually is made of that chest panel, while this one is just a mouth. That chest panel actually tucks away on the underside. I do like that, though. I do like how that one has a bigger mouth, but I think both of them, the head sculpts are very nice. They're both Rhino boys. You know, they're both doing Rhino things. I do still like the color of this one. It's just, I don't feel like it's as good as this. I really like the difference of, like, the light grays, too. Unfortunately, both of them do have robot mode bits showing. Both of them have it on the front legs. You can see the arms there. And the old one actually does have some more paint there. But green, too. Unfortunately, the new one has these big old green shoulders. Ah, man, that stinks. But the old one does also have some green on the back, too. And some green kind of on the belly and, like, right by the neck. That's a little more prominent than on this. You can see it's a little more gray around the neck. But yeah, you know, they're obviously, it's a robot trying to take the shape of an animal. I don't really know what you would expect. But they're both nice. They're both nice. But they're both not really much nicer than just nice. Articulation in the Rhino modes, basically almost nothing on the old one. You can kind of move the shoulders a little bit. You can move the jaw. This one, though, actually does have some more articulation. You can move the shoulders. You do have a little bit of motion in the head, just a little bit. You can move the jaw as well. And this one actually does have back leg articulation, which is pretty nice. I like that. So, let's just cut to the chase. Let's transform these. Let's talk about the old one. The old transformation is, it's interesting. Very panel heavy. There's just so many panels. It has soft plastic, too. Like, his butt is soft plastic, so that's very interesting. So you move his butt, then you just move all these big old panels, and you hinge these panels, and then you see these panels, and then there's more panels, and oh, did I mention the panels? Yeah, you get those panels off to the side, then the arms come down, then you move the big head panel away. Look at this. Look at this mess. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Yeah, did I mention the panels? So yeah, the legs are actually a lot more simple on the old one. And believe me, we'll see that. Basically, it's just a big panel that kind of slots into place. And rotate that waist. And I think that just kind of situates with everything else. I really do like how the back comes together on this. I've always liked that. It just feels so smooth, and the panels line up very well. I've always liked how the back comes together. And then we hinge this into place, flip that panel down, flip his chest down. And I've always liked the head sculpt, but I've always seen RHINOX as being a character with very distinct lips. He always had very pronounced lips in the original show, and I feel like this toy just does not replicate that. And we'll see if the new one fares any better. But yeah, I feel like the head sculpt's not bad on the robot mode. It's just not as... we'll get a little bit closer. So yeah, the transformation from Rhino to robot isn't too bad, but as you can kind of get the idea, other way around is pretty finicky. You do have his weapons, which I did have not in the Rhino. I mean, you can put them in that cavity. But you have two of these. These are infinitely superior to the new one because they actually have a spinny gimmick. I love these weapons so much. They're so nice. I will miss them. But yeah, get those in his hands. And there's old RHINOX transformed. Yeah, we'll get to that. And let's get the new one transformed. Oh boy. I just did this right before filming. Let's see if I can even remember. So let's just get the weapon out of there. It does tab in better. I just kind of put it in there for now. So it's very solid. There's a lot of nice tabs and a lot of nice connections on this newer RHINOX. But it's just so much, man. There's just so many panels and so many little things to move. There's so much. Like, remember how I exploded the old one? Exploding the new one, it's kind of a similar story. There is just so much going on. And like, pieces kind of collide, and they kind of struggle to move. Like, you flip this tail in, you flip like the tail piece in, which is such a little subtle transformation element that I don't even feel like really had to be necessary. And I feel like the angling too of these panels, I struggle so much to get this panel to move where it needs to go. Like, I'm trying, right? I'm trying to do what I gotta do. And it's just fighting me every step of the way. Because, like, I can't really bend the knee too much. Because there's, like, these multiple hinges. Like, even going the other way, this is just an absolute nightmare. There we go. So it's like you need to move it when it's very straight, I guess. So, like, if I try to flex that, I just feel like there's so much plastic flexing transforming this. It's actually a reason why I didn't get it at first, because I watched reviews and people were like, oh yeah, you feel like you're gonna break the thing trying to move it around. And they're not wrong. I feel like they could have done this a little better. But it's still, you know, as you've probably hinted at, or as I've hinted at actually, and as you've probably picked up on, I do prefer it over the old one. I do like the feet a lot more too. Let's get these feet out. These actually tab in very securely for whatever reason. And then, yeah, there's a big panel, and then the leg flips into the leg. And then that flips in somehow, I think. There's just so much going on. Did I not do that right? I don't think I did that right. Order of operations, too, is a nightmare on this one. It's like, does that not... What am I doing? Yeah, it goes like that. Yeah, it actually has like a little hinge there. But does it just like stick out, or does it like... It doesn't really have anywhere to fold in, though. It's so confusing, man. It's so confusing. There we go. I think that leg's pretty much there. It's just so many panels, man, on these legs. It's kind of like Studio Series Leader Megatron. You're just trying to do it, man, and it's just nothing but panels. The legs are just so many panels, and the legs just end up super thick because of it. But for RHINOX, I feel like having thick legs is actually very appropriate for the character. Alright, getting there, making progress. So move that Rhino head to the back. Like I did hint at, his chest is a fake one. Shoulders hinge out. I actually really like how that works. And then that hinges down. And then, like I've said, I really do, I do miss the gray paint on the arms as well. I feel like the old one benefited from that. How does this open? There we go. Jeez Louise. It's just so confusing sometimes, trying to figure out how this even works. And I feel like, too, like, moving the hand in and out, I feel like that arm piece is flexing against other plastic. And on this one, you can see the head sculpt. I feel like it does have more of a lip going on, and I really do appreciate that. So, one of the last things are these little side panels. I think these hinge up. Yeah, those hinge up and fill out the body a little bit more. And let's give him his guns, which are nicely painted. They do look nicer, but they don't have the spinny, so I do miss that spinny. But still, I mean, come on. Most of its life, I'm not going to be spinning the stuff. It's going to be standing on the shelf. And that's pretty much that. That is Kingdom RHINOX in his robot mode. So, with both of these transformed, you can see I'm actually very surprised that the Kingdom one is a little bigger. Especially since there's this whole thing of like, oh, new Voyagers are so much smaller. No, it's actually a little bigger. And it is a lot more stable. I feel like the design is a lot more accurate to RHINOX, because his, even though I do appreciate that that is the actual lower jaw, I feel like that being a fake one really replicates the big flat look of how it looked in the original show. I do prefer the head sculpt on the new one, because it does have the lips, because he always had very pronounced lips, and I feel like that replicates it. I do feel like this one is a lot more stable and solid in the robot mode. I'm not really afraid of it doing anything stupid. Meanwhile, this is just a floppy mess. This one, the old one, I say this one as I'm holding the new one, the old one has always been notorious for being such a floppy mess. Like, straight out of the box, man. Straight out of the box. It's just, look at that. It can hardly hold itself up. It's very, very floppy. I mean, on paper, it's a good figure. I still feel like it's a good RHINOX, but I'm happy to say that I have a new RHINOX that can actually hold up its own weight. One thing I really do like I mentioned, I really prefer the feet on the new one. I like how it actually looks like the Rhino hooves. I can see the big toes. Well, on this, it's just these weird, I mean, they are actually made of the Rhino hooves on the old one, but they just looked kind of thin and weird and, like, kind of icky. I mean, you do have an ankle joint out of it, so it does, like, function decently. But, yeah, this one's just a mess. It also doesn't like holding its weapons too well, because they had this era of Transformers where they were like, oh, let's have the hands sculpted to not be in, a firm grip. And that resulted in, big surprise, the figure not having a firm grip. But with new Transformers, they've kind of realized that's kind of bogus. Just give them a good grip, and they'll grip it well. I do have to see, though. Oh my gosh, stand up, please. But I want to see how the new one looks with these. I do have to say the green matches pretty well. This is definitely more of like a metallic marbly green. Yeah, he holds those pretty well. Oh, yeah, man. Ooh, yeah. It does have, like, the tannish color that matches the old one. Ah, dude, that's so cool. Okay, we'll see about keeping those or not. So, yeah, there we go. Here is old versus new on RHINOX. We're actually not done quite yet, though. Gotta go over the articulation. Ball joint at the head. Universal shoulders. Very limited elbow joint. You can see it actually does have a pull down, which they don't do at all anymore. But it's, kind of limited with what you can do with it. Nothing in the wrist. It does have a waist joint, but it's behind the skirt. You have a waist joint. Legs move decently. Thigh swivel. Loosest, horriblest knees in the world. And an ankle where you have a toe hinge and a little ankle tilt. New one then. If you'll stand up, please, Mr. Old One. New one. It's actually very nice. Ball joint at the head. Butterfly joint at the shoulders. It's so cool. I think that's so cool. You can actually have him like doing a fist bump, because he did that all the time. You do have hinges that move up. They're kind of awkward looking, but I do feel like you get some pretty good range out of it. The elbows are a little limited on this, but not nearly as much as the old one. Nothing at the wrist again, unfortunately. He does have waist articulation. And that skirt is actually a part of the hip, so that doesn't really get in the way as much. Hips move forward, get a nice thigh swivel. Knee bend is a double knee. and is very solid. Very happy to report. I think Hasbro kind of overcompensated with that. They're like, okay, so we know the old one had terrible knees. Let's fix that. I do feel like with how much folding and panel work goes into the legs, that they do kind of want to come undone as you're messing with him. But it's not to an extreme extent where it keeps just flopping around. And the ankles on this one are hinged, going mostly back, a little bit forward, and really nice tilt. So yeah, I'm actually very impressed with the new RHINOX. Like I said, I wasn't expecting it to be this good. I wasn't expecting it to be this big. I really like it. I do want to get one close-up, though, because I haven't even really gotten close. Yeah, that head sculpt on the new ones is so much better to me. The old one's still nice. I still like the old one. I like how the old one has the maximal symbols on the head. But this new one, man, is just... that is RHINOX right there. That just looks way more like RHINOX to me than the old one does. So yeah, there we go. Old versus new. Generations... what was it called? Was it Thrilling 30? I think it was Thrilling 30 for this RHINOX. And Kingdom for this. So yeah, they've definitely like had some remakes of Beast Wars characters throughout the years. Like Thrilling 30 did make a few of them. But I can easily say all of the Kingdom ones are infinitely superior to all of the previous remakes. If you want a Beast Wars collection, Kingdom is 100% where it's at. Don't consider any of the Universe or Classics or Thrilling 30 versions of the characters at all over the Kingdom ones. The Kingdom ones are just infinitely superior. I do, like I said, I do kind of prefer the arm paint on this one. And I do prefer the gimmick for the rotary cannons on the old one. But the new one is just, it looks so much better. I like the colors more. I like the articulation, the look. This is the best RHINOX that we have right now. So guys, there we go. There's old versus new on RHINOX. Thank you so much for watching. Special shout out to the patrons of Patreon. Thank you all so much for your continued support. Alrighty guys, there we go. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.